Wake up, you're asleep at the wheel. I'm Josh Weil, and this week we're going to have a recap read through of Marvel graphic novel number 12, Dazzler, the movie. And now this was just too much story for me to handle alone. I mean, I felt like I held my own on Marvel Graphics novel number 4, The New Mutants, but Dazzler the movie it's epic. It's everything that you knew you wanted and more. It's a awakening of selves you didn't know you had, and so I couldn't handle this one on my own. I had to reach out to my friend, to my brother, to my fellow Dazgolite, Nathan. Say hi.
Hey, it's Nathan. I'm Nathan. How's it going?
Nathan, I'm so glad you're here with us. So before we get started, tell us where can we find you on the interwebs?
You can find me at Twitter and Instagram at Dazzler AOA.
And I see you've got your nice Dazzler shirt on.
I know, the world tour. Woo! Yeah. Yes, love it.
Got my nice Dazzler shirt on, my Andrew Formosa shirt.
Love that one.
And so we're going to be talking about a remarkable, there are remarks to be made. It is a remarkable issue.
Yes.
One of the original Marvel graphic novels, number 12, Dazzler, the movie. So before we start going through it, because we're going to go page by page, what are your thoughts or memories about Dazzler, the movie, before we begin?
Probably the overall most one is, while it's a really, really important story, it's, how do I put this nicely? Very dated.
I do try to keep this in mind. I remember when I was in college, and so this was 2007, 2008-ish. I had gone back to college and was finishing up my bachelor's after not making it through the first time, and I had a American history through American cinema class, which was my way of like meeting a history requirement without having to do much more than watching movies while I was doing all my heavy math and science courses. And near the end, we were looking at like the 60s and 70s, and we watched The Graduate. And the thing about The Graduate that most stood out was like how fucking creepy the third act is. That like he's just flat out stalking her, like spying, like renting out the apartment, the attic apartment across the street, spying on her through the window, following her everywhere she goes, even though she doesn't want it. And it's so romantic in the 70s. Like he would be in jail in 2020. He would have been in jail in 2000. Like, it was so creepy. And to just kind of, okay, with older stories.
Dazzler graphic novel overtones there.
Yes, that like, you know, what's creepy today probably was still creepy then. Was mainstream considered romantic.
Oh, what fun. Yeah, it's like watching just a live version of a hashtag Me Too story. Sometimes the Dazzler graphic novel.
I had read this once before a long time ago. So like I had read this once before in the 90s. And, you know, a confused boy who just liked Dazzler, and, you know, like it's not a great comic. So like confusing writing. I just, you know, I didn't remember much. I just remembered like, oh, it's more of like a romantic story for adults, but I was just happy because it had Dazzler. Reading back on it this week was like, I even remember there's going to be a part where we introduce a character and I'm like, another skeezy bad guy. And then like 5 pages later, oh my God, she's making out. No. Oh, stop. No, what's she doing? Wait, he's not the bad guy? Oh.
It's wow, full of that. Like, oh yeah, when we get to it, the guy, the juice bar guy, right? The one who wants to take her to the juice bar. I'm like, ooh, that's creepy, but he's like the good guy in the story.
Yeah, he was the one I was kind of remembering. Okay, so like he must be he's the romantic lead, right? As like we see it at the beginning, and then oh no, okay, no. Oh, it's worse than that.
I know, boy. But I mean, right? It does set the tone. It actually, for a graphic novel, besides maybe the New Mutants one, it's probably actually had a lot more effect on the Marvel universe afterwards because of the anti-mutant sentiment that came out of the reveal.
Yeah, there were some good early graphic novels, and the three main X-Men ones all dealt with that because you had Marvel graphic novel 4 was the New Mutants.
Right.
And I believe 5 was God Loves Man. No, 3 was God Loves Man Kills. 4 was New Mutants.
Yeah.
And 12 is Dazzler, the movie. Yeah. And they all touch on that. Now, this is slightly like God Loves Man Kills and Dazzler, the movie. They're almost like on par. Like Dazzler, the movie might be just a little bit below that.
I don't think it's as universally beloved by any means.
But yeah, so what was going on then? Now, this came out in the latter half of the Dazzler solo series.
Yep.
Right? So Dazzler was introduced in X-Men 130 during the Dark Phoenix saga, shortly after she got her own series, and then her 1981 series.
Yep.
And now we're in 1984 when Dazzler the movie comes out. So it's right in between issues 34 and 35, which these beautiful Bill Sienkiewicz covers are the best thing about.
Absolutely.
Yes, and they're all written by Jim Shooter. So both of those issues around it, chronologically, and Dazzler the movie are written by Jim Shooter. So if you want to read them chronologically, you can, although it doesn't matter because they're all just batshit nonsense.
Yeah.
At this point, and here we are. So we're looking at the cover, another beautiful Bill Sienkiewicz cover, right? And we got our credits by Jim Shooter, art by Frank Springer and Vince Colletta. So Marvel graphic novel number 12.
Perfect. Yeah, that cover, I would agree, is probably the best thing about the book, too.
Because we're going to open, right? We start with the cover, and then we're going to go to page 1. So how long does it take before the issue gets problematic?
Page 1.
Page 1. There we go. We open with a shot of Dazzler doing yoga with her ass out. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's right. In the series, she had moved to LA from New York because she was going to be an actor now instead of a songstress.
Yes.
A singer. Wow.
Yeah, she was. So this is very pre Beauty and the Beast. Like chronologically speaking, like Beauty and the Beast starts like a month after this.
Yeah.
So this is very pre Beauty and the Beast, but also right after Beauty and the Beast, we start getting her crossovers with the New Mutants and the Secret Wars stuff.
Yes.
Then we get her joining the X-Men in issue 38, and she becomes an Aussie. Like from here, the train starts picking up, and things start getting better and better. After this, not like with this.
No. After, for sure.
So we open, and on this page, we also have our first appearance. We don't know it yet, but this mustachioed gentleman here, Eric Beale, going to be a major character in the story. All right, so Dazzler's teaching yoga because one of the main running plot threads was basically every issue of Dazzler was about her getting a new job.
Yes.
So now she's teaching yoga at this nice fancy gym, right? And, the people are looking at her and I don't know what we want to say. Oh, she starts glowing. She loses control of her mutant powers a little. That's the important thing here. Yep.
I love how she doesn't even realize that she has to overhear it from the other patrons in the club. It's like,
yeah, she's in front staring at a giant mirror, but doesn't realize that she's illuminating. She's glowing. We got some nice 1984 men's belly shirts.
Yes, the fashion. I love the fashion. And lots of TNA shots.
Yes, lots of cleavage, lots of boobs. She manages to push her boobs out with no matter which direction she's lifting the weights. She manages to push her boobs out here. Yes. So she's ready for Hollywood.
Ooh, Eric Beale starts on her on that page too.
Yes, sorry. Wanted to go back to that.
No, yeah.
So Eric Beale starts hitting on her while she's doing 100-pound. I don't even know what she's lifting 100-pound barbells, kind of doing Olympic presses.
Oh,
right,
my gosh,
showing off how strong she is.
There's another gratuitous pose while she's got the with the weights there. Yeah.
Yep, every time. And Beale tries asking her out, right? Creeping on her. A girl who looks like you could really go far with a friend like me behind her. Now I want you to go change and meet me in the lobby in 10.
He's like, but I'm at work. I can't do that.
You have rules, Mr. Beale. So then, Beale does naturally what anyone would do and buys the club.
Buys the club, right? Because that's not creepy at all.
Massive power play. Right now, I make the rules. So if you'll join me for dinner tonight, we can discuss your promotion. You're going to be the new assistant manager.
Oh, God. It's like right out of a sexual harassment don't do video.
It is. You could just film this and use it as the sexual harassment intro video at a gym.
Oh, God. But then we meet, what is his name? The boy in the orange shirt, right?
Freddie? I want to call him Freddie.
I think that was his name, yeah. Yeah, we meet Freddie, and he's like, hey, thanks for talking to me. Nobody talks to me. You're cute. You want to go get some juice? Like, oh.
But I mean, he's not, he's the least date rapey of anyone in this show. So.
Yeah, and that's the sad thing, because
he gets points for that.
Yeah. Yeah, and then she's
now, we do get the good scene where, she tells him that she can't go with him, but asks him to hold the weight for her. And he realizes how heavy it is. And then she goes off and Freddie drives her home. And so, she repays him with
a kiss.
Yep.
Wow.
Smooch from the Dazzler. I was beginning to wonder after this, if we made a list of people Dazzler has kissed, it's gonna get long and weird and questionable.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure it's not gonna be good.
You can't mention her love story without mentioning Ken the lawyer, right? He was her lawyer, and then he was dating her. A lot of lines crossed.
Yep. She's also one of, unfortunately, the other person I make mental lists of is how many ex-women has Warren Worthington stuck it in. And she's on that far too long list.
Oh, poor Dazzler. Oh, my God. This graphic novel.
All right. So Freddie drops her off to her humble abode. So she's got her little Malibu apartment there with her old school fridge with the ice box, and reminds me of the grandma townhouses in Brooklyn, when I was a kid.
It does look like our Brooklyn apartment too. I wonder if you open the fridge, if there's still going to be the one packet of ketchup and some cantaloupe in there.
There's a good chance that, like, since all these guys worked out of New York, they didn't actually know what LA looked like and just kept drawing New York, calling it LA and drawing New York.
They're like, it's a little bigger, right? That's LA. That's what it's all about, right? Oh, and she's so sweet to him. She's like, oh, you're a good kisser, by the way. And then, like, yeah.
Oh. She's a good, sweet Dazzler. Playing a record player. And then we get our gratuitous nudity.
Well, the first of it.
Right? So she just stands and starts looking at herself naked in the mirror, as you know.
We all do, right? I mean, I guess. I don't
know. Takes her bath, puts her mask on. And the art is, like, this is not the art that we got in all of the issues either. Like, the art in the issues was closer to Marvel House style. This is very much like old romance comic style art.
Yes, definitely sets the tone. I love, there's, I mean, as bad as it is, there's so many throwbacks to just like the first part of the Dazzler series in this page here. Because, you know, even her calling the X-Men, right? It, like, in the next page there, it's just like almost like Dazzler 1, but she's in LA.
Yep, Aurora. Well, because Storm is an adult.
Yes.
So, you know, Storm's just calling to check on her. Tell her I'm worried about you. You know, you can always come stay with us.
You know,
Storm is
surprisingly always on the run. I like that look for her, though, I have to say, for Storm.
Get a little cameo by Nightcrawler.
And Cyclops. Was Cyclops on the team then? I'm trying to remember where it fits in.
If this is before 201, I want to say it is. I want to say that this is before 201, but I am not.
I think they referenced it in 200.
It's close.
Yeah.
It's close to that time frame.
Okay.
So I'm not completely certain. Yeah, so then, you know, we see her getting ready to go out, and then we cut to the mansion in Beverly Hills. And this character we have seen before. So This character here was in a couple issues of Dazzler leading up to the graphic novel. So we have met
Roman, what is it, Nakoba?
Roman Nakoba, yes. Nakobo.
However,
we've met him. Yep. And so now we're introduced to him in the graphic novel with a random hooker in his bed. And he gets up and he's bald and he's fat and he's smoking a cigar. And he's got, you know, to pull a girdle around his fat ass and put his dentures in and his wig on to try to make himself look, you know, presentable. And he's going after. There's a girl I met recently, Allison something or other. Best looking dame ever. Can't believe this woman zig. Her eyes, her hair, her legs, her tickets. What a woman.
Wow.
And
yeah.
He turned him down. Yep. So now he's got to go get her.
I love the stereotypical, like, he's the washed up old fat bald. He's got to, like, then he goes through the transformation thing. I mean, it's a lot. That
this is the introduction, spoiler alert, to the romantic lead of this story is fucking wild. Wild. This is how you introduce your male romantic lead. I just can't. I was not ready for this. Yep. So then we see him. He's got the ascot and the sailor's coat. I do like that his manservant, that his valet is stretching. That he's not just like standing there and Alfred attended. That he's doing like half stretches. It's a nice touch.
He's like, did he say on this page or was it another page? He's like, do my calisthenics for me. So like, that's not how it works.
No, we go to a downtown night spot where Allison Blair, the Dazzler, makes her Los Angeles debut. And she's singing,
I'm still standing.
Better than I ever did. Yes. I don't know what the deal with lyrics rights were back then, but I'm pretty sure they probably were not legally allowed to do that, but just did it anyway.
Poor Dazzler, all the songs she ever sings in the books, they're always covers.
Well, I mean, it's probably better that way because I don't want Jim Shooter writing a Dazzler pop song.
No.
Like, I think this was for the best. I'm honestly surprised that they're not like redacted with like the little black bars and like the digital edition they sell today. Like
the rights. Oh my God.
Because I know like in Sex Criminals, like Fraction talked about like they couldn't get the rights to use song lyrics, so he has to like when she's singing karaoke, they have to like redact over it with the black bars. Like just imagine she's singing Fat Bottom Girls because we don't have the rights to print the lyrics.
That might have been printed to the page. I don't know.
I don't know. But so Dazzler's singing I'm Still Standing. You know what's funny too? This was in my head the other day, like when I woke up and I couldn't remember why. And now I know like what burrowed it into my brain. We have Eric Beale here with Michael Rooker.
Yes.
watching Dazzler glow while she sings.
They're like, man, she's sparkling.
First thing they ask her to do is smile. Because, you know, what good is a woman if she's not smiling?
Ooh, and then now the paparazzi are after her.
Yep, the paparazzi start talking about that, yes, Roman, so our male romantic lead, has announced to the tabloids that she's going to co-star in his upcoming movie and that they're in a relationship, that they've been romantically involved.
Oh, God. Then the look on her face is great. She's like, what? Seriously, what?
Yep. And so she storms out, calls a cab, but she can't afford to take the cab all the way home. So she just gets far enough away from the paparazzi so she can walk home. And when she gets in her bungalow, who's committed a little felony?
Roman. The landlord let him in, no less. Like, so much wrong there. But at least he brought her flowers and champagne.
He brought her flowers and champagne. And then he starts sexually assaulting her.
Breaks her poor table.
Yep, breaks her table. Starts grabbing her and kissing on her, and she's screaming for him to leave. And he tells her that her career is dead and leaves her alone in a wrecked apartment.
Oh, my God.
So romantic.
True still.
Yes, I you know, have you ever watched the Chris Claremont X-Men documentary on Amazon?
Oh no, I need to. I heard it's good though.
It is good. There's a point where the best parts of it, in my opinion, are they caught after some con. They had Ann Nesenti, Louise Simonson, and Chris Claremont just kind of like back in like a green room, like chilling on a couch together, reminiscing. And they just kind of like just start storytelling their way through like 15 years. And those are like all the best scenes. And they get to a point where they have to talk about Jim Shooter and all of them just kind of like freeze up. And like, and I think it's Wheezy who's like he was an asshole. We hated him. And then they cut to like a side interview with Shooter somewhere else where Shooter's like, you know, like we had a rough relationship, but I think all in all, you know, they respected me in the end for the way I handled them. And it cuts back to Wheezy like, nah, he's an asshole.
Oh my God.
But yeah, like I feel bad for, you know, any woman that might have gone on a date with Jim Shooter in the 70s or 80s because
his idea of romance is lacking. Wow.
Yes. Scary. Scary. So the next morning, Dazzler's walking down the street, and, you know, Roman's waiting for her, stalking her, following her along, following her down the street. She has to start running from him, and eventually has to use her powers to blast his tires so she can get away. And then he pursues her on foot, chasing after her, and then fakes having a heart attack to get her to come over. Oh. And it's that finally starts to turn the table and gets her to agree to come have a cup of coffee with him and talk about a job. Somehow. I don't know how we made that jump from fleeing for her life to, well, maybe he's not so bad.
And the only reason she's even out is because she has to get a new job because she had to quit the club from Air. Because
the other date rapist is now her boss.
Oh my God.
There's this built-in misogyny to some of this stuff.
Yes.
Like the Tom Clancy books are just rife with it. I got the audiobook a couple years ago of The Bear and the Dragon, which is about like a late 90s, early 2000s kind of like Cold War escalating standoff between Russia and China, and has some like Clancy's strengths were his insight into like political tensions and like military powers and the deference they create and the types of risks. Like he told those parts really good. The parts with women or relationships, holy guacamole. There's a part where a computer salesman or a spy posing as a computer salesman goes into an office to try to sell computers to like a minister in China. So that way they can like get bugs in and start recording or like stealing data and information from like the Chinese ministry. And the secretary's like watching the presentation of the computers and is getting concerned, like these computers do everything I do. Like if they take these computers, there'll be no reason for men to have a secretary. Well, I guess I shouldn't worry too much. I mean, a man can't fuck his computer. And I remember like just having to stop and be like, no, this was not something that was like acceptable in like the year 2000, 2001 when this came out. There's no way. Like,
wow. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to go look that one up.
This is that same kind of mindset of misogyny of like, Eric Beale being like, I'm going to be your boss and make you the assistant manager. That way it's okay for you to blow me after work. That same kind of mentality. That like, I was born in 84. So I grew up in the 90s, like, which is, I think, where we definitely started to see big changes. I mean, you know, it's a decade of the Anita Hill, Clarence Thomas hearings, the Lewinsky scandal, Alanis Morissette, like Lilith Fair. There were a lot of major cultural changes through that time that, yeah, man, like the just inherent misogyny of anything before then still kind of like hits me in the face every time I read it. Like, this was a real thing. Like, not just that it happened behind closed doors, but like we could put it in a children's book and say it's romantic.
It's like, it's saying like every woman has a price and you just have to be able to afford it enough to get the better ones. I'm like, no. Yeah.
Yes, women are chattel. And in a book that recognizes that strong female characters like Storm exist and can have her calling in to check up on Dazzler, it at the same time acts as if, but no, women are really just chattel, which is, there's so much like this book is.
I have to say that's the good thing about Claremont, especially, was that he didn't put that in the books. But Shooter, it all reads like that.
Yeah.
Wow.
So she agrees. She agrees to do the film. She agrees to be his star. He starts buying her dresses and houses, and now we got her dressed up with her tits showing again because, you know, we made it like 2 pages with her wearing a crew neck.
I know, right?
So now we're back to this.
And look at her slowly get seduced by the life of fame and power.
Yeah, he looks like a creepy little boy, like ventriloquist dummy. And she looks like Michelle Pfeiffer, which is great for her, except like, again, going back to, I grew up in the 90s. This dress was considered risque and taboo and revealing in the 90s. Like this cut. And I just, the combination of these things here is, it never gets better.
He looks like a off-brand Ronald Reagan kind of sometimes. Roman. Like,
yeah. And it doesn't take much, you know, she's getting her headshots and pictures before, you know, she just comes on to him. You really have the most beautiful blue eyes, Roman. Put that drink down. There's something I want to tell you. And now she's his.
Wait, how many pages are we into this now? So, like, is this 10 pages in? So, in 10 pages, he goes from her sexual assaulter to her love of her life. It's
it's less than that. Because we introduced Beale first, like.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. There's like 5 pages of story before, you know, she's making out with him on like every page you turn. Yep.
Ooh. Now they've got funding for the movie.
Yes, Beale. They get Beale to fund the movie naturally. So that way he can be involved. You know, we've got some more romantic.
Now she's like, I want to love you even though you were sexually assaulting me a few pages ago, but I'm a mutant.
Come on, Blue Eyes, melt in my arms or at least stop squirming. Should I kick the table over for old time's sake?
Oh, God.
Remember that time I tried to rape you in your apartment?
Oh, no. The dress looks stunning, though. Oh, no.
Yep. And we got her waking up in the robes, you know, they're together. She goes from like glamorous Michelle Pfeiffer to like Real Housewives of Beverly Hills in time flat.
The next morning too, at that.
Yeah, like she one night with him, and she wakes up like she's become Kris Jenner.
I had to go back and reread that part. I was like, did that say like a month later? No, it's the
next morning. 6 months later. Nope, next morning. Moving fast. She's not happy that her other date raper is the backer now. But Beale's going to meet with him and smooth it all over. So they start doing the tours. The the Nekabo Mansion, Monte Carlo. Now I've got a video covering it. The Riviera, Maxim's, the St. Regis Hotel. Just living the life, you know, walking around, you know, everywhere they go with cleavage out. And because like that's her tickets. Gotta admire her tickets.
Well, yeah. I mean, wow. Just,
And again, like we can't turn the page without her making out with him at some point. And we know too, like, that this isn't really him. Like, he's wearing a girdle and a wig and dentures and makeup. But it's, and so, you know, she starts putting on weight and drinking, day drinking, smoking, which, I mean, I'll give her the day drinking because, like, she's letting this dude get on top of her. So I'll forgive her that one. But yeah, like, you know, we get some more gratuitous nudity where, oh my God, look how fat and ugly she has become. She can't even look at herself. Done to myself, what have I become?
Wow. And like, look at her. She's not even fat. The whole thing.
No.
And then he's like, hey, baby, I outed you. You're the mutant. So everybody knows now. Like,
yes, I haven't done anything morally questionable and heinous in 6 pages. So I use the fact that, you know, people around the country fear and hate you and want to kill you. I released your secret to the media to build hype around our film.
And she's just like, why? Okay, I still love you.
This is the one point that this is probably the big, in terms of how this affects her character and her character arc moving forward. This is the one thing that sticks and is relevant.
Yes. That
she doesn't get to hide in the shadows anymore. She doesn't get to be passable. She's been outed very, very publicly.
Yes. It really, thankfully, set the tone for her to have more mature stories grow out of this. But wow, just this.
Yeah, she's going through some stuff, the Beauty and the Beast arc and the Secret War stuff with the New Mutants. Yes. She's a bit of a head case. Like, she kind of dips down before coming back up. But really from X-Men 38 forward, you know, joining the X-Men and then the Aussie era.
Yeah.
We get, I think, in the hands of, Claremont didn't write Dazzler 38, but in the hands of Claremont there, we get the kind of defining Dazzler run moving forward, like where she gets, as a member of the X-Men, as someone using her powers in a team with relationships to the other mutants. Yeah.
You had to go through all of this mess to get there. Oh.
All right. Now she gets airlifted in on a helicopter in a bikini so she can be put on stage. Like Chattel again, gentlemen, start your engines.
Oh.
Right. And then showing off her powers for everyone. Proving she's a mutant, you know. Again, they're trotting her out like a piece of meat.
Yeah.
Now, and I can't tell here, on this one, it does kind of look like when you look at her butt, is this just a gray bikini or is this a disco ball bikini? Because if this is a mirror disco ball bikini, I will give them some props for that. I don't think that they are, this creative team was on the level of thinking of putting her in a disco ball bikini, but that would have been great. I think that's just some cross-hatching.
Not when they put her in that Dracula cape, no.
No. All right, and then she's testing the limits of her powers, which is apparently just glowing like a nightlight. More and more and more. The whole crowd gets silent as the people are screaming, which is the one cool part.
That is cool, yeah.
Because she doesn't just feed off of sound, she absorbs it. Which, you know, we've talked in the past about how I think that's one of the more underutilized points of her power. The fact that she can silence things. The fact that she can remove sound, I think, is a part of her powers that hasn't been explored enough. Like in my fanfic, in the Lost Shadows fanfic that I write, and by write I mean wrote 9 chapters and then have been like meaning to get around to chapter 10 for like a year and a half. But I mean that's what makes it real fanfic. I have a scene where, you know, when she goes on covert mission, she wears like black velvet gloves and she can suck the sound out of the room so they can move stealthily. Like she absorbs the sound of their like footsteps as they're creeping in and then turns it into light inside the black velvet glove, like where no one can see it. Like, because she would be a great stealth operative helping a team move through, like using it not for the creating light, but for the removing sound part.
No, I like that. I like too, like if sometimes she's absorbed sound that she actually can hear what's going on. So she could maybe absorb a conversation with some sensitive information kind of thing too, that to go along with the spy stuff. So that's actually a really cool idea.
Yeah, unfortunately, you and I have thought a lot more about Dazzler than a lot of the people who wrote her.
Yes.
But that's why we're here doing this. So she starts crying, you know, because, you know, she put it all out there and the people are screaming at her like she's Frankenstein's monster. And the 2 men are like, okay, good job.
They're like, it's all good.
Here.
Great.
Yep. And, you know, like for them, like they associate like a woman's tears with like their own pleasure. So, I mean, this is good.
Yeah, of course.
They put the Dracula cape back on her and head off. And now, though, people are throwing bricks at her. Lots and lots of bricks at once. Like an impressive amount of bricks. All
Who cares that many bricks? Never fear. She's like, lasers.
She's the Daz. Now she's got to start working out again.
Yeah. Oh, I did the one.
Oh, but
about this
before she starts working out, though.
Yeah.
You know, now she needs Loverboy. I'm gonna have my way with you, my little pretty. I'm gonna use my nasty little mutant powers to incinerate all of your best toupees.
Oh God. But there's one cool thing. So they do change it where now she can actually store sound instead of having to.
Yes.
That's like the only like good thing about her power set that happens here, I guess. Oof. The outfit, though. I like that outfit she's got in the car. Looks different than... Oh, it looks like that trading card with Jim Lee, almost.
Yes, it does. Although here it's just another cleavage thing.
Yeah.
Yep. So she starts working out. She starts, you know, cutting down. No more day drinking and smoking. She gets to go back to wearing...
she has cleavage covers.
Yes, cleavage covers.
Oh, except for there.
Except for here, when she's filming. Although this is a pretty cool 70s super spy go-go out.
It is, actually. Like a Medusa-esque with a lot of cleavage.
Yes. Like, this is a good outfit for her. Like, she doesn't need that much cleavage, but, like, the color and cut is nice for her.
Yeah. I do like that, actually. Huh. Except for, you know, that. But.
Then we get the news report about protesters protesting the film, right? About mutants. The worst thing about these mutants is that they may look like you or me. They walk among us unsuspected. One of your friends, a neighbor perhaps, or God forbid even someone in your own family may be quite capable of reading your thoughts or levitating into the air, or like Alison Blair, killing you with a wave of her hand.
Sigh.
So this is Fox News.
Absolutely. Cool action shot.
Cool action shot, but again, we can't make it more than a page without creepy sex stuff.
At least he keeps his toupee on during sex. Apparently.
He does. Yeah. But I have the feeling that he's probably smoking while they're going.
Oh, yeah. Of course. I mean, 5 packs a day, gotta be.
Like he probably ashed on her back once or twice.
Yeah. Oh. Oh no, they broke into our house now.
Yup, the anti-mutant crowd have wrecked her house. They're destroying her world. They're about to see the movie for the first time when the theater gets broken into and the projector crashes and an anti-mutant riot comes as well. Even though, like, she doesn't look like she was about to really, like, watch the movie in there. It's so, like, oh, God. Although we are led to believe that the movie was surprisingly good.
Yes. Yes.
Like, the few people who see the movie, like, the responses we get are that, like, better than I thought it would be. Like, makes you really care about mutants. Wow. Which is sad because I think a lot of future writers who just know that it was a bomb or a failure go back and think about it like it's a joke of a film. And I can forgive them because knowing that meant that they would have had to read this.
Yeah.
So forgive them that gap in their knowledge. We get some cool illuminated Dazzler fight scenes as she fights off the mob.
That just looks like they didn't want to, like, detail her.
That is a good possibility. That could be the modern JRJ, I'm going to draw faces in shadow so I don't have to draw faces technique.
Yes.
Where they're not, like, shadowed, they're just flat black. Despite where the light source is coming from.
They're like, oh, they're in shadows. It's dark and secretive. I can make this page quicker.
And then Beale calls her down and tells her that she's not allowed to see Roman anymore because Roman signed a contract saying he'd never see her again. He's expressly forbidden to communicate with you in any way ever again because so Beale paid off all of his debt and bought his girlfriend from him and is now expecting something.
We know what he's expecting.
Yes. Now it's strictly business. Look upon this as your last chance, Miss Blair, for you and your race. Would you like to swing on a star?
Oh, and again with the tears in her eyes.
But our girl's got morals. So he thinks she signs the contracts, but she writes, go suck an egg. And which is, it's the 70s. But again, like, I really wish, like, if we were going to update this needs the treatment that Giant Size X-Men just got, where you have a different writer doing every page. This needs like a full Marvel arsenal, like, tribute to Dazzler the movie with a different elite artist team doing every page. And that would say something different.
Yeah. Like, redo the whole thing. And, like, Roman shows back up. He's like, hold on, I gotta tear up the contract. I love you. I don't want my money. Okay.
Oh, no. He was just waiting. Like, he literally tells her, like, no. Like, I sold you, but I knew that, like, you weren't going to do anything. So once he paid my debts, now, like, fuck it. We can do whatever we want. Like, that shit's paid off.
That's romance right there. That's relationship goals. Oh, God. Oh, wow.
Yep. And so they go back and she tells him, I love you so much. Oh, Roman. and then they just kind of like break up happily.
Because that's what the story needed. Oh my God.
Don't get me wrong, Roman. I still love you, but the way the world is right now, I'd just be an anchor weighing you down. Besides, I want to make it on my own because I deserve to, not riding anybody's coattails, you know? And then the back cover by a real artist again.
Yes. Woohoo.
I would put this like, I would put this as like a decal on my car, on my computer.
That is amazing.
A t-shirt and a pin. Like, this is awesome. You're going to be okay, Miss Allison Blair.
You know, when I read this page, what popped through my head? The song she was singing earlier, I'm Still Standing. So.
That's what they should have been playing. How is it not? How did Shooter miss that? Yes. Like, that's what should be playing as it exits.
She should be singing it as she's walking out.
Yes. Oh, this is...
There we go. Wow.
And now we have recorded our thoughts on this for posterity, and we never have to read it again.
Thank God. Although, have you read 260, was it 269, the follow-up to this?
260 is the follow-up to this.
260, yeah.
I'm going to have a recap of that coming out, which is a follow-up and is not because it just wildly recharacterized.
It does.
But yeah, I'm doing a recap of that, which is why I wanted to do a video for this one first. You know, get this out there before I do 260, so there's something to reference.
Whew, that's a book, though. That's a book. I don't know what else to say about that.
Yeah, and it is, you know, Claremont makes it canon. Like, he cites it and he brings it full into canon. Although like I don't think he was disrespecting it because it doesn't have any respect. Like, I think he understood that like it happened, but like I don't have to. Like, I just do whatever the fuck I want with these characters.
But I mean, it did get mentioned a few times, like you said, in X-Men 2, because they did, it started a larger wave of anti-mutant sentiment.
Yes.
I'll say that. And it does get that kind of almost sequel. And then it did lead the way to more intriguing Dazzler stories or more in-depth Dazzler stories like that. Like, if I had to tell somebody to start reading Dazzler stories, it would be that New Mutants arc or even Beauty and the Beast too, because they both kind of same era, go off the same kind of thing.
Yeah, I like 38 as a good place to start. The one where she joins the X-Men, and then you can kind of go into, like if you want, there's the Beauty and the Beast and the New Mutant stuff. Otherwise, you know, Aussie starting around 210 is the good place to get some good Dazzler content. So we could take a second. What are some of your favorite other Dazzler stories? Because I know assuming that this is number one on your list of all-time greatest Dazzler stories. Like, what's coming in just below it?
Right below this.
For the Dazzler fan who sat through this whole god-awful video, what would you recommend?
So, you know, maybe not as good as the graphic novel. No, seriously, though, probably Extreme X-Men Volume 2 is probably the best Dazzler run, like, ever. She's strong, she's confident, she's deciding to be a superhero. So it's a shame to see what happens to her in the Bendis arc, in the Bendis Uncanny afterwards. I also like A-Force as well too, for another more modern story. She's rebuilding herself from what happens in the Bendis run, and that
first arc of A-Force with Lightbringer Dazzler is
yes, it is. It's leaps and bounds. I mean, of course, nothing's as good as this graphic novel right right here, but what are your favorite ones? I don't know if I've ever asked you that.
I mean, those two are definitely up there. I really loved the covers of Dazzler more when I was a kid, but this is the first series that like I full collected. Like when I was first getting into comics, I don't know where or how I found out about Dazzler or saw it, but I was just so attracted to some of the covers, the Sienkiewicz ones, knowing that it was X-Men related. There was something about this character that really attracted me, but there weren't a great depth of good stories. I liked a lot of the kind of alterna fan RPG stuff. I remember there was a Marvel RPG game, like a Dungeons and Dragons style book, I think in the early 90s I had friends played, and they did a great one with like Dazzler and Shatterstar were two of the characters when I was watching them play. And it was so like the mysteries around Shatterstar and the things that they were bringing, like Dazzler had enough, so many like great things connected to her that she could be used so well. But I think probably my favorite stories, if I had to pull on them, would be the two that you just mentioned, A-Force Volume 1 and Greg Pak's Extreme X-Men. I didn't really like what Bendis did with her, although I liked her seeking revenge at the end. Like I liked her kind of taking back her agency at the end of that.
Yep.
I liked her little cameo in Longshot Saves the Marvel Universe.
Oh,
yeah. She's had some good cameo moments, but unfortunately she doesn't get her full due often.
Yeah, I think in Doc's era, we've seen her twice, maybe, in the big party scene at the end. And, but maybe 3 times, because we saw her at the Blue Lagoon, too. And then, like, she had that one page where she's talking to Quanon and Fallen Angels, where she's like, hey, party.
Yeah, oftentimes she could have been anyone. But I dig those ones. The Greg Pak and the G. Willow Wilson. G. Willow Wilson did her so good in dealing with someone recovering from trauma. Did a really great job with that. So, all right, Nathan, thank you so much for joining me and coming on here.
Pleasure.
Yes. And so, if you enjoy Nathan and I talking about X-Men stuff, make sure you check us out on X is for Podcast, where we're not always in the same room together, but we are regularly on podcast episodes talking about everything that's new and going on in the world of X-Men.
Why do I keep wanting to call it X of Swords? The Ten of Swords crossover is going smashing. I love every episode we're doing so far. It's great. I'm loving to see all the other new people we're bringing on too after us. So it's so
many great voices.
It's so.
Anything else you'd like to promote?
Just you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Dazzler AOA. That's all I got right now.
Awesome. Thanks, Nathan.
Cool. Thank you.
And that's it for today. Thanks again to Nathan at Dazzler AOA for coming in and helping me out. I could not have handled all of this story on my own. Not without alcohol, and I don't drink anymore, so that's a problem. Remember to check back here every Monday for our latest X-Men recap. If you're watching this fresh, then this coming Monday, we're going to have Uncanny X-Men 260, which is the sequel to Dazzler the movie. It's the follow-up where we see what happened to Eric Beale, date rapist number 1, after this. It is it's a story. And it would have required too much explanation in that recap if we didn't do this video first. Also, make sure every week you're checking out X's for Podcast. I'm there, Nathan's there, our friends Nico, Arturo, Rod, Raven, Evelyn, Maddie, Kyle, Jonah, a whole crew catching up and breaking down X of Swords and the Dawn of X books every week. So found at all of your finest podcast purveyors. and keep coming back, asleep at the wheel. Protect trans kids.